Right, so here's one. Despite how incredibly successful all of the Marvel films are, they don't really do all that much when it comes to marketing, do they? Like, they don't do anything special. Like, I remember losing my mind because the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer had cool music. So yeah, that's the bar. But I suppose, in fairness, why would you bother trying to innovate? Like, the core fans are already there. There's really strong interest in all of the characters. You haven't got to pull up trees to make people care about these films. We already care about them anyway. I mean, look at Endgame. There is virtually zero marketing for that. It is anti-hype, and yet we're all like, woo! Problem with that is, though, going into Phase 4, we haven't got these Captain Americas and these Iron Mans, these well-established characters to fall back on. They've kind of got to pin the hopes of the franchise, and indeed bajillions of dollars, on people who are something of an unknown quantity at this point, like Captain Marvel. Thus, Marvel have decided to market Captain Marvel in quite a clever way. Like, if you recall, the film is set in the mid-90s, so they have released a website from the mid-90s. You remember those really awful, scrolling, glittery word GeoCities things? They've done one of those for the film, and it has gone viral. And as you'd expect, given that it is Marvel, it is full to the back arse with little Easter eggs, secrets, nods and winks here and there. So yes, obviously, I'm going to pick through them. Number 12, the visitor counter. Back in ye olden times, we always had these little counters on our website, didn't we? So we keep track of how many people were coming to consume our content and call us virgins while they did it. Obviously, as you can see from YouTube, so much has changed in 25 years. God, I'm so old. Naturally, the Captain Marvel site has one as well, and it is stuck on a very particular number. No matter how many times you refresh it, it will not go up, and it is 13,031,968. Yes, I know it's there, but I can't see that. That's not real to me. Now, that is a very special Easter egg because it's the 3rd of March, 1968, if you read the numbers along the way, and that is the date of the first issue of Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel number 1. So, clever. Number 11, Roy T. At the bottom of the site, there is also a little guest book. You remember those, don't you? The little things you could write on as if you were visiting some kind of provincial weird bed and breakfast instead of a website. Well, yes, there is one here as well, and lo and behold, you can't sign in or leave a note. That's because they're not by random fans, they're all little references in of themselves. The first notable one is by a man called Roy_T, and 1 billion points if you picked up on that being a reference to Roy Thomas, the man who succeeded Stan Lee as editor at Marvel Comics. He has actually already been referenced in the MCU in that Captain America weird Scarlet Witch wigging out flashback scene during Age of Ultron, and he was one of the key creatives, I'm told, behind Captain Marvel. That's nice. Number 10, all your base or belong to us. Now, some of the timelines with all this early internet stuff on the site don't match up, but I'm going to point out right now that's all getting the benefit of the doubt. I could give two fucks about whether or not this meme happened in 1992 and the film set in like 1995 or 1996. I do not care. Roy T saying all your base or belong to us, which, if you don't know, comes out with this brilliantly hilarious mistranslation of Zero Wing when it got ported to the Mega Drive, I want to say. Anyway, that is brilliant. I like that. Well done. Interestingly though, Zero Wing, for all it did want to set us up with a bomb and so on and so forth, was about an alien invasion of the planet Earth. So maybe there's more to the inclusion of that on this site than meets the eye. Number 9, Marvel. Now, just on the off chance that you missed the fact that the original Captain Marvel website included a mild plot spoiler, just skip the next 10 seconds so you missed this bit. Jude Law, according to that, is playing Mar-Vell in the film, but they've taken that site down now, and this is all that remains. But the 90s site now also confirms the suspicion we've all had that Jude Law is playing the original Mar-Vell, the original Captain Marvel, from the comics. The little image of him on the site, if you save that, it's actually called marvel.jpg, so yes, that is it official. Now, yes, that kind of is a bit of a spoiler, I guess, but when you think about it, Mar-Vell was the person who originally gave Carol Danvers her powers in the comics, and in this, he's like, you can see he's a mentor from the trailer, so who else could he have been playing? Nobody, turns out. There you go. Number 8, the collector of cards. Now, not all of the message board usernames are immediately apparent what they're directing to. The fact that some of them got ats in front of them made us think that maybe they're pointing at Twitter handles, but no, we've checked them all out and none of them are deliberate. Like, they're mostly taken on Twitter, Yes, but none of them are pointing at anything other than just random accounts. One of them actually points at a torrenting site, rather unfortunately. But one of the usernames is a big, if also slightly obscure, reference to one of our most beloved characters. The Collector of Cards has posted the higher, further, faster tagline from the film, and if you think about it, there can only be one person in the MCU who could call themselves that. That person is, of course, Agent Phil Coulson, or Coulson, however you want to pronounce it. I always get shit for that in the comments for just doing it in my normal accent. Anyway, if you cast your minds back to the first Avengers film, he has, of course, all those Captain America cards, which are a very important plot point, and he's set to return to the big screen in this. So, yep, Jots, all join up. Good. Number 7, Chewie. Thus far, the standout character of the marketing for Captain Marvel has been Goose the Cat. So important to the story, they want us to believe that he had his own character poster, and don't know if you've read any of the reports from the test audiences yet and the early screenings, but apparently he steals the goddamn show. That's good marketing. Now, Goose is a character who debuted in the comics back in 2006, albeit not as a boy cat, as a girl cat, and not as Goose, as Chewie, who was also, you get the thing there, they're named after famous sidekicks in movies, Top Gun, Star Wars, yeah, see, it's all very clever. Anyway, in the comics, the cat was revealed to be an alien. Yep, I'll not go into that, but we're expecting it to happen in the film as well. And the original cat from the comics does indeed get a mention on the site, as under the username Chewie Rocks, someone has simply posted meow. Don't know if the implication there is that the cat did that itself, but whatever. Number 6, the mysterious Skrull. As soon as the first trailer to Captain Marvel was released, it became immediately apparent that they were going to lean very heavily on the whole enemies hiding in plain sight thing. You remember, because punched the old woman in the face, didn't she? And the internet was like, well, you can't do that. I mean, yeah, admittedly, without context, she is just hitting an old woman in the face, which is probably why in the second trailer they unpacked it slightly and revealed that she was one of the badass Skrull things, and she fought back, so it was alright, it was fine. Now, playing up slightly to the impact this has already had on the marketing, there is a hilariously bad cutout of said old lady just doing the rounds on the borders of the site. Doesn't really mean anything, yes, it is a bit silly, but we liked it, and it does remind you that the core, true message of this movie is to twat the elderly, I guess. Number 5, Leet Speak. Starting to feel really old now because I had to explain this one to loads of people in the office. If you don't remember the internet during the 90s when everything was a GeoCities or an Angel Fire site and we had to make our own amusement because it was downloading at 3 megabits per second, you won't get this. One of the posters on the message board has left a comment that admittedly will make very little sense to most people. I'll just do it verbatim. C4R0L D4NV 3RS ISTH3 1337 backwards R0XX 0 backwards RZ exclamation mark 1. Now, that is nonsense, isn't it, to most people, but not to me, not to old me. I'll just translate that for you now. Carol Danvers is the elite rockers, which is the highest form of praise anybody on the internet could bestow anybody in the 1990s. Basically, she's great, and the whole Leet is short for elite, so saying that she's elite means she's got like special powers, special internet powers, and God, I'm sold. Number 4, Monica Rambeau. And rounding off the Easter eggs on the guest book / message board / chat room, whatever you're comfortable calling it, is a one Monica Rambeau, who hardcore comics fans, as well as anybody who's been paying attention to what's going to happen in the film, will be familiar with. Now, in the film, Monica is one of Carol Danvers' fellow pilots, and we've been told an incredible badass. She's basically like Goose and Iceman rolled into one to Marvel's Maverick. Now, it's all quite convoluted, this, but in the comics, she became the second ever Captain Marvel and gained the power to transform into any form of energy she so wished, which yes does explain her clever little comment there, but she gave all that up to become the hero Photon. And guess what her call sign is in the Air Force in this film? It's Photon. So I thought that was implicit. Number 3, there are more Skrulls on the bus. This is less of an Easter egg and more a tiny little spoiler for the film, but if you'd rather not hear it, I'll let you just skip to point 2 now-ish. Still here? Good. One of the very few interactive parts of the website is the Can You Spot a Skrull game, where it just gives you a load of people and you click on which one you think is human and which one you think is the Skrull. Yes, this is exactly what the internet was like in the 90s. It was wild. Now, the key thing here is the game is telling us that there is more than one Skrull on that bus, which means the fight scene we've already seen is going to be considerably more bigger than we thought it was going to be. Plus, I mean, read between the lines here, there's like half of them are Skrulls and half of them are humans. So is that telling us how big the invasion is at this point? Because that's a lot. Number 2, Stan Lee's cameos. Despite his very sad passing last year, which I'm still not entirely over, to be totally honest with you, we know that Stan Lee is probably still going to get a cameo in Captain Marvel. We think he's recorded a number of them before his death, so look out for that. There's also a little cameo of sorts for him in the website. If you click on the top secret part, you get a picture of Coulson, a picture of Fury, and then a third picture which does not load. It basically looks like it's crashed or the site's down or something, but if you hover over it, the name of the image is Excelsior, which is sad. Just a nice little gentle reference to him, that as well as a reminder of how important he was to the creation of the character. But if you scroll down to the very bottom of the page, there is like a little animated GIF of the great man himself, which is nice. Number 1, Annihilus. All right, so we might be reaching ever so slightly here, but if you look at the URL to that missing image, and indeed all of the other images on the site, there is maybe a massive clue about the future of the MCU. Maybe. Now, rather than all the URLs being links to Marvel in some capacity, the developers have very consciously chosen to have them all be links to i.anyhill.us, which is Annihilus. In case you missed that, he is a super villain. He is a mega villain from the comics. Now, maybe don't get too excited by that just yet, because a lot of the parts of this website do predate the announcement of the movie. We think some of the Marvel developers actually chose that quite a while ago so they could have a bit of fun when they were building the websites, but still, it's there and they've chosen to do it again, and we don't know what the big bad's going to be in Phase 4, so don't go wild with that, but at the same time, it is there. So there you have it. Those are all the mind-blowing-ish Easter eggs we found on the 90s Captain Marvel site. Let us know what you made of them, as well as any you found yourself in the comments below. And of course, don't forget, like you ever would, to like, share, and subscribe. In the meantime, though, thank you very much for watching. This doesn't count towards my total of 6 million Endgame videos. Captain Marvel, it's very different. But I have, of course, been Adam Cleary, and I will see you soon for an Endgame video, probably. Bye.